Hi, I'm Matt Hatton from technology industry analyst firm Transformer Insights. We're here at the Things Conference in Amsterdam. We're talking IoT and LoRaWAN. With me is Marcus Behrens of SAP. Marcus, welcome.
Thanks very much.
Tell me a little bit about what SAP is doing in IoT and what your position is, because SAP is a huge organization, so I'd like to know a little bit more about the specific bit that you're focused on.
Yes. So I'm part of the technology team in SAP. I've, before that, worked on the applications like most of the other guys are doing. And in technology, we look at how can we apply technology around business processes that SAP is automating. Imagine materials management, financial accounting, customer relationship management, all these processes that big companies are automating with the help of SAP. Where do new technologies come in? There's artificial intelligence, there's machine learning, and I happen to be part of the team that does Internet of Things.
Okay, very, very good. So the SAP approach is a slightly different one from most of the people at this show. This is quite a sort of hardware and networks driven show. So you've got a different perspective on it. How do you see the hardware, the LoRa landscape from sitting within SAP?
So SAP has always been trying to be as hardware agnostic as possible. Mm-hmm. This was easy when it was about 4 different big database vendors, or when it was about Unix systems where we really only had 3 or 4 players. Mm-hmm. In the IoT world, you have hundreds or thousands of device manufacturers, then you have the connectivity, and that's not so easy for SAP to navigate. Mm-hmm. However, we have to navigate it because there's so much innovation potential in bringing sensor data into a business process context. Mm. And to, for example, when a delivery is going bad on the way, offer the business user a fast reaction on either resending a new offer, a new product, or, for example, talking to the customer to find out how this can be mitigated. So we are mostly addressing people in big organizations or in smaller organizations with automated business processes. And if you add sensor data into the mix, you can optimize the existing processes, but some of our customers are also looking at new business processes. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, ultimately, IoT is about supporting changing business processes. So if you're starting from that point, you get tremendous insight into what the requirements are of the customers for how they might be using IoT, presumably, and then you can turn that into IoT.
Yeah, I think on one side, a lot of customers trust us for being the system of record for the business process in the back office, something that's very much corporate driven. But on the other side, they also would like us for this digital core to be enabled for being future oriented, being innovative, allowing to not just do the same thing more efficient and faster, but also do new things or to offer new kinds of services. This is where we're really reaching out to this IoT market, and we have established a platform called Leonardo IoT that facilitates taking the sensor data from the devices, taking the business context, and putting this into a common place where you have time series data for both the business process data and time series data from the sensors, and you can make quick decisions, and you can do analysis over a long time frame to optimize or to, for example, even do billing based on the sensor data that's coming in.
Yeah, because the IoT data is just another data source, right?
I think IoT data...
Quite. It's a little more complicated than that.
I sometimes explain this to an application developer in SAP. In the past, when you build an application, you first define a data model. Then you think of how does the user interact with it, what is the application logic. So you have your process in place, and then you put in some test data to try it out. In IoT, it's a little different because you first try to figure out what kind of sensors could I use, and then you try the sensors out in the real world. You get data from it. It has errors in it. It doesn't get you what you want exactly.
It's all sorts of different formats.
It's a lot of data.
Yeah.
So it's not just a few terabytes. It might be a few petabytes. And to manage this kind of data is really a new thing for a traditional database-based application developer.
So you're going from SQL data to like video streams and crikey, all sorts of
So the
types.
Size of the data, also that there's errors in it, there's a lot of uncertainty. I'm personally very excited about this because I think It's a little bit like back in the school when I learned about physics. It's a little bit about doing research to find out what can you really get out of the data. We've worked with some of our customers who found in data that they collected what they wanted, and they could track something, and temperature exceeded. These are simple things. But we also had a lot of customers trying to find out, can I detect a competitor product being used together with my product?
Okay.
And some of them invested in this, and it took them 2 years, and it didn't work out. So this level of experimentation, this level of looking seriously at what can you do with sensor data, and also true innovation, is a new thing to a traditional SAP IT shop that is more looking at the reliable system that's in the back office.
And it's going to get even more complex with use of machine learning, or in fact deep learning, where you can just feed the data in and it should be able to tell you what you didn't know or didn't even realize that you needed to know.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. How are you finding the maturity levels of organizations that you work with in terms of how they're adopting IoT? I mean, in the last few years, it seems to have gone from a lot of proofs of concept to maybe a little bit more maturity. Is that what you found?
So we serve 20 different industries, and we also have many different processes, and everything that has to do with manufacturing. Clearly, customers have done automation in the factory for many years. So it's not so difficult for them to then look at intralogistics and to look at warehouses and other places where they could put sensors. So in this domain, I think it's more of an evolution. In other domains, for example, transportation, just in the last years, every vehicle is tracked, every vehicle management system, like also ours, needs to be able to deal with the sensor data. So there it has become commonplace, but there's other industries like the retail industry, or for example, consumer products, where some of these things are, as you said, in the last years experimental, or they're going live, they're getting value from it, but it's nascent. It's not that commonplace. Now, SAP traditionally has been providing standard business processes, which means if they have not been executed 10,000 times at 10,000 companies, it's not a standard yet. So it's also not so easy for us to make our existing solutions flexible enough to address these new processes, but most of our core applications are cross-industry. And that, for example, allows you, if you sell machines, to also build a machine by usage based on the fact that we have a cross-industry platform for the applications. Okay,
makes sense. Final question. You're personally interested in LoRaWAN, some deployment in Heidelberg that you're involved with. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, about 3 years ago, 2 other guys and myself, we founded a group in Heidelberg. There's a meetup. We meet every Thursday evening. Please feel free to come to the DAEI, to the Deutsche Amerikanische Institut. And we meet there every 2 weeks, and we have now 51 gateways up and running. I have something on my house that is measuring the wind. It's a little boring, but we have other guys who have bee hives, and they check with a scale the weight of the beehive. You can discover that the bees are escaping all at once, and then you have to catch them again. Or you can look at how much do they have as food in the winter so they don't starve, because you give them sugar during the winter.
I'm a beekeeper. I understand these issues.
Perhaps you have a specific question on that.
I'll talk to you about that afterwards. Okay, that's fascinating. You're going all the way from big business all the way down to a very small scale deployment. Thank you very much for your time, Markus. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks very much. Thank you.